explained. "The body of a woman found in a shallow grave at the West Road Cemetery." Lewison pulled a face. "2 bodies on a holiday weekend. No rest for the wicked, is there?" They retreated back outside the house into the watery spring sunshine. The smell of death followed them, clinging to their clothes and invading their nostrils. "A nice enough place," Lewison commented, though it was too quiet for his taste. Mackenzie nodded as she cast a sharp eye over the Arcadian scene. "You think something's off?" Mackenzie smiled again. "I'm just naturally suspicious." "Want to have a word with the cleaning lady?" "Let's do that." They found Carol Dudley sitting inside a squad car being comforted by a police constable. Her rounded face was puffy with tears, and she clutched a sodden tissue in her fingers. Mackenzie opened the door and smiled a greeting. "Mrs. Dudley? My name is Detective Inspector Mackenzie, and this is my colleague, Detective Constable Lewison, from Northumbria CID. If you don't mind, we need to ask you a few questions. Would you like to take a walk and get a breath of fresh air?" Lewison held out a gallant hand to help her from the car. "All right, then. I understand you must have had a terrible shock this morning." "It was awful. Just awful. The smell." Mackenzie steered her away from the trauma and back to the facts. "Why don't you tell us how long you've been working for Barbara?" "Well, I started working for Miss Hewitt and her mother about 10 years ago. They liked me to use their last names. They didn't like to be too familiar," she explained. "Well, that's a bit stuffy, isn't it?" Lewison commented from his position on the other side. Carol clamped her lips together and adopted the reserved expression of one who would not speak ill of the dead. "What were your usual hours?" "Every Friday, 8:30 till 1, she said. "Miss Hewitt liked to stick to a schedule, come rain or shine." "I see. How did you find the house?" "What do you mean?" "Well, was it messy? Dirty? Did you find anything out of place recently?" Carol screwed up her homely face in concentration, then let it fall again. "Not that I can think of," she said apologetically. "She just liked things how she liked them. A place for everything, if you know what I mean." "I understand. Do you happen to know who we should contact in terms of next of kin?" Carol's lip quivered again. "She didn't have anybody, as far as I know. Her mother died last year, and her father died back in the 90s. She didn't have any brothers or sisters." "I understand she wasn't married. How about children?" "None that I know of." "All right. Was there anybody special in her life?" "You mean like a fella?" "Yes. Or a good friend?" "No. Nobody. Although—" Mackenzie waited. "She always went out on Fridays, while I did the cleaning. I never knew where she went," Carol confided. "Well, it's not as if she had any friends or family. I don't think she had anybody. But she always had her hair done on Friday mornings, then went off in the car for a few hours, all dolled up." "She never told you?" "No, we didn't have that kind of relationship," Carol said stiffly. "She was a very private person." Mackenzie nodded. "When was the last time you saw Miss Hewitt alive?" "Last Friday morning, same as usual. She let me into the house at 8:30, then headed out in time for her hair appointment at 9. Mackenzie made a mental note. "Did she seem troubled or unwell?" Carol sniffed and blew her nose again. Well, the thing is—" She looked uncomfortable, and Mackenzie gave her an encouraging smile. "The thing is, she wasn't a sociable person. She didn't go in for small talk. She left a note with a list of the jobs she wanted doing, then left me to it." "Did she ever complain of ill health?" "No, she seemed as fit as a fiddle. I never heard her talk about any ailments. Oh, a bit of stiffness in the joints from time to time, but that's to be expected at her age." "I see. How about when you found her this morning? Did you notice anything out of place or anything unusual?" "Well, I didn't really notice anything except the body." Carol swallowed.